everybody. Hi. Hello, everybody there. Here comes the audience, but I thought you was going to say, here doesn't come the audio. Yes, folks, there's an invisible virtual sellotape over my lips today, which means that for anybody watching, I don't appear to be talking, but if anybody's listening, they might realize that indeed I am talking. And actually the ears are basically where you're meant to listen, aren't they? So there we go. And oops, I'm starting up on the wrong screen there, but you can't see that yet anyway. At least I don't think you can. Right. Okay, well, welcome to Metaworld News, everybody. This is sort of your news headlines for 14 days, a fortnight as it were, ending as we are today on the 19th of December. In reality, I've only picked up a few of the things from the last week and maybe 2 or 3 things from the week before to actually cover, because a fortnight would just be impossible to cover everything, despite the fact that it's the silly season or the slow season or whatever else you want to call it. One thing it has been, of course, is conference season. Just far too many of them here, there and everywhere, to be honest. We'll be going through a bit of that. Now, I have various links that I'll be showing you on screen that you can follow. You can get to the pages directly by going to my Twitter stream, which is twitter.com/Mal Burns, MALBURNS. You see, I get squashed there. Real name is Mal with a hole in the middle, Burns. Except, you know what I mean. Space. Yeah. Hole in the middle, indeed. There's a hole in my shoe and it's sitting in water. There's a hole in my brain and it's... never mind. All right, this is the silly season, of course, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm going to be silly too. We won't be here next week, I don't think, just too close to the X day, as they refer to it. Probably the week after. We shall see, we shall see. Unless we come live to surprise everybody with a Christmas party, but I don't think so. You never know. Oh, good news, though, is that in terms of group happenings, Hypergrid Safari is back, or rather, it will be back in the new year. So Zaremba has come back on. I promised to help her, as before, get that stuff sorted. And this time round, Safari's got its own Discord server, as well as its channel in the Hypergrid server, as it were, mine. So, yeah. So there will be stuff going on, but she won't be doing anything until after the holiday celebrations. So it's good news ahead of time, so to speak. Right. Okay, I'm joined here by James Atlloud. Now, James is not on his normal mic, so I've been warned that he may not be able to speak very well.
Well, I'm on my normal mic, but I'm not on my normal speakers.
Okay, well, fine. You actually, I was just getting ready to say, oh, no, we better not do this, but you actually sound fine.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
There you go. No interference there whatsoever. James, of course, is prone to showing off his T-shirts. He can zoom into his own chest. And, well, no, he might as well tell us what it is. Yeah. It's a cat. It's a cat.
It's a cat. And it's interesting. This comes from a Sansar store called Wolf and Howler store, which, you know, of course made me think of Tony from the Ghost Howls, or the Ghost Howls. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But anyway, this Wolf and Howler, it's a Sansar user named Wolfen, and so it's a lovely store. But this is a very nice little T-shirt, and it says Christmas is gonna be lit. So that works for me. I enjoy that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just hope it's not made of polyester and isn't actually going to be on fire.
I know, right?
Yes. Christmas is going. Oh, right. So it's so psychedelic. You can't. It disrupts the words a bit when you're reading it.
Yeah.
I thought it said Nikita something for a minute.
Yeah, right.
From a distance.
But a lovely sweater for the holidays, and since the gift-giving holiday is imminent. It seemed like a good time to wear.
Yeah, it does look nice and warm. I've just bought that. It just arrived actually. Huge duvet cover, pillowcases, and a fitted sheet, and they're all made of fleece.
Oh.
So I will fit. Fleeces are rather nice to keep me warm.
Comfy, cozy. Yeah.
Yeah, very comfy, cozy. I'm worried I might overheat, but never mind. It's worth trying them out because I love wrapping myself in fleeces when I feel nippy.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So that should be good. Or that I think they call fleece is actually microfiber, fluffy microfiber these days, but
Ah,
they still
okay.
call it fleece. So who knows? Don't think it would poison me anyway. Right. Okay. So moving on. Oh, I should add, folks, that audio aside, James here is responsible for fiddling with all the knobs that make the video happen. So you can switch between my desktop and my avatar and another version of my avatar, no, position for my avatar, should I say, etc., etc. And under normal circumstances, my lips would be flapping away like mad. But
Mm.
as I said, there's some invisible tape over them. I was actually, we have a picture on screen at the moment. Maybe Jay's going to show you that. I was actually at the Open Sim Community Conference last week, and let's see, this would have been day one with Adam Frisby, Evo Henning, and Dale Glass. I was hosting this sort of panel there. Um, it's a week later and it still hasn't come up online. Although, if you're lucky, you might be able to get from Avacon a long, a long video that is the whole of one of the days, but the Sunday, I think. So I can't give you a replay link or anything else like that for the moment. However, that is a picture of me in the middle there on stage with Evo to my right and Dale to my left and Adam looking outside, really. It's not quite the same as the way they're listed there. Anyway, but this is another thing. These two panels I did Saturday, Sunday last week, my lips were sealed there too. You can still hear me, but that's a different avatar, a different platform, and still my lips weren't moving. So I think something's happening. I think my avatar's getting ill and is losing the ability to motionize to flap his lips. Who knows? Who knows? We will see in the new year. Maybe it will be all right on the night or the day or the year again. Moving on. So we got some pictures up while we're on that screen. I've got a couple of things here. I've got a post about this later, but it's rather funny. This lady's had an Instagram account, and she was known as Metaverse. And mysteriously, the day after God Emperor Zuckerberg renamed his company, she, her account vanished. It's not as if she even called Meta; it's Metaverse, and nobody knows what that is. But apparently, her account vanished. Now, I think it has since been restored, and we will have the article on that later. But shows somebody moving quick to get rid of stuff. Talking of information, I was quite pleased to get this from YouTube during the week. I have had total views of 1,034 over the course of the year, um, which and 8,000 for watch time minutes or whatever. I don't know how they actually kind of work that out, but I was encouraged. What minutes don't, they get distributed around a lot. You got somebody who watches a lot and somebody who watches just a bit. But I was quite. I didn't actually think that of late we would have made up that number of views. Although I did notice quite a few of them are replays of particular shows of a couple of years ago, even. Anyway, good news. A new illustration. Quite interesting sort of illustration, isn't it? They've taken the Meta logo and superimposed them as goggles on a cartoonized version of the God Emperor's head, face, whatever. So I grabbed that, thinking, oh, I can use that somewhere. But I don't know where yet, so I stuck it onto the screen here just for the sake of it. We haven't got many pictures this week. This is in January. We'll be back long before then, but 19th to 21st of January here in London. Helen Papagianni, yes, I can never pronounce her name. We'll be talking in London here at a thing called Ahead. It says up there by Bet. Now, Bet is an educational event organizer. So the emphasis will be on education, I think. Yeah, but who knows? Might get an invite. Well, actually, it's not even safe to go out of the house these days. We've got more covidity around, haven't we? Anyway, that's enough for now. I'm going to put that. Away. And no, surprise, underneath, we've got some links. So, as I said, if you want to get straight to the pages of these links, go to twitter.com/malburns and you'll see the titles. You click on the links, you'll get through directly to the page. For example, if we got an article at Forbes and I tell you it's at Forbes.com, it's not going to really get you very far if it's an article from last week, because you'll get through to the Forbes homepage and you'll spend a long time digging for the article, no doubt. So do use my Twitter feed if you can. Well worth subscribing to, because you get all these links throughout the week. That way you can come and listen to the show and then go to sleep while I'm talking because you've read it already. Huh? No, isn't that a good? That's not such a good idea, really, is it? No. Okay, silly season be damned. Right. Okay. Well, we're starting off not as usual with the Scarred Ghost because yeah, I think this came in later and sort of is actually more recent than the beginning of the week. No, 14th December, who knows? Right, this is a site called Verdict Co UK, verdict.co.uk. And they're talking about the biggest AR and VR predictions for the coming year from various executives who are delivering the technology. Well, they're not wrong. I'm not a great fan of predictions, simply because none of us can know the future, and sometimes the so-called experts are the last people who know what they're doing. I read a comment earlier today that sort of this year time 2 years ago, it was very hard to find anybody who would dare call themselves a metaverse expert. Now, apparently, everybody under the sun is a metaverse expert. So there you go. Something's happening there, eh? Whether they know what they're talking about is an absolute not matter entirely. Most of them, of course, are pitching the vision they have for their own companies and stuff, which is what CEOs tend to do. Let's see, realware. I don't know. Interesting picture. So these are all the people who are the so-called, know the future people, the vision people. I don't know. Oh, he looks like a visionary. He's just been pulled through a hedge, but never mind. Okay, they're all there anyway. So if you want them, you can go to Verdict Co UK, verdict.co.uk. And right, moving on to where we normally start the show. And it's the Scar Goes. Cue the music. Yeah. Okay, the XR Week Peak from Tony, who's better known as the Scarred Ghost. Talking about Horizon Worlds in open beta. That, of course, is a meta beta or a meta beta. Better not play with that. Among Us VR is coming and more. So it's his roundup. Now, bear in mind, this was on Monday this week. It was after pretty much all the conferences had taken place, except for the one that took place this week itself. But his focus is actually looking back on the week before. So, as opposed to last week in our time, this is the week before, of course. But it's a good way to start the week. No doubt, if you go to scarghost.com again tomorrow, you will find an updated version. Well, the latest version of this. You can always get back to the old ones too. You can also, by the way, subscribe to this. I'm having to be careful I don't miss this on the web, because if you subscribe to it, you can get quite literally the HTML page in an email, which of course, if you really can't afford to miss it, that's the way to get it, as it were. Right, okay, so as I say, more retrospective there from the Scar Ghost. SKARREDGHOST.com. Yes, good old .com there. They still make them, .coms. Yeah, of course they do. Right. Will we be happier in the metaverse? Well, I don't know. I've been in there 20 years or so, and there are happy things. There are less happy things. just like there are friends and there are griefers. It's sort of a bit this way and the other. But a few companies are trying to use virtual reality to reduce our stress levels in the metaverse. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I can think of one big company, which would probably stress me out more than pacify me, that's for sure. Anyway, they cited a guy called David here who's a virtual male in Sensorium, which is a company. It's a virtual world basically founded by a Russian billionaire. Um, Although he's very familiar with America, and his company is based in the Cayman Islands. So, um, yeah, it's discussion points for it. There's not much I can say about this. Um, they're not making a statement there with that question. Um, but I suppose, by putting a question mark on it, they are raising the issue. Will you be happy there? I think everybody, if we're talking about the 3D helmet world, nobody's going to be happy wearing a helmet for more than 20 minutes or half an hour at a time. And some of us probably won't be happy if we're wearing it for 20 seconds or 30 seconds at a time. Swings and roundabouts. But that isn't the only way you'll be able to get into this network of things that, you'll be able to use your phone to have conversations with people. You'll probably be able to get the environments themselves on your television set one way or another. If you can get streaming video these days, it won't be that long before a streaming uplink to the enabled world. So we will see what we will see. Anyway, this article is from the Fast Company. .com. They post occasionally about virtuality and stuff. They're not a website dedicated to that though. So fastcompany.com. And right, move that one. Okay, this is a site we sort of tend to go to now and again and tend to get about 3 in a row from them. They're called organix.org, auganix.org. And they're talking about that there has been a sort of a spatial. I don't think this is Spatial IO, it's the other one. They've been focused on AR, basically, and stuff, really. But they've, on December 14th, they're now described as a former augmented and virtual reality collaboration platform, has today announced a significant company evolution to become the metaverse. Who else had that idea recently? Right. Anyway, become the metaverse for cultural events. So they're saying there'll be the cultural metaverse, such as NFT exhibitions, brand experiences, conferences, whether on the web, mobile, or indeed VR. And they've talked somebody out of giving them $25 million in new funding to pursue that growth, shall we say. Wish them luck. This is just a ridiculously highly competitive field now. And can't really zoom into that, but you may notice that spatial, rather like a few other virtual environments around, seems to be designed for legless people. You obviously have to stock up on your alcohol before you can go in and visit. God forbid you actually arrive with legs, you see. Problem. Right. As I said, organics.org for that one. And moving down the list, I've got the future of connectivity. And guess what that is? The metaverse. Who would have known? Really, really. Okay, this is readwrite.com, another general popular site on the web. readwrite.com. The metaverse, you've heard of it, you've likely read about it, you may be even aware of how more and more companies across all industries, from software enterprises to luxury brands, are scaling into the M word. Transition taking place all over the last year. Editorials have been flooded with articles explaining what the metaverse actually is. But why does the metaverse matter? And more importantly, what does it mean for the future? And will it even last or just fizzle out to be another fad? Well, who knows, indeed. For those of you in the UK, and you may be able to get this on the BBC iPlayer outside the UK too, BBC News channel. Actually, it used to be one of their other channels. I don't know where it still is. They have a program called Click. And I actually saw it yesterday completely by accident. It was a dull grey day, and for some reason I turned the television on at about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I just caught, 2 minutes into the beginning of this week's episode of Click, and I then watched half an hour of BBC blokes. Oh, well, there's a woman and a bloke, but BBC types, if you know what I mean, um, talking about the metaverse along with pictures. And they did include some video of an interesting AR thing that's on at I think it's at the Tate Modern in London. But then they did a whole load of editorializing on the metaverse, and they weren't quoting, Zuckerberg, but um, the way they were, they were doing that all embracing this is the future talk, and I think it's a, I, you think so. Basically, I expect investigative journalism from the BBC, and they don't have it anymore. They basically are, talking heads made up of news releases. So, but it's interesting. They covered it. It's the new big thing, and when people like the BBC put their mark on it, then it stands to be a bigger thing than it would have been otherwise, which is called actually, it's called advertising or propaganda when you think about it, but there we go. Okay, so readwrite.com for this article on the future of connectivity, or rather the metaverse as the future of connectivity, I think is what they're trying to say there. Moving down my list here, we're going to Ars Technica. Now, this is related to the picture I showed you at the beginning of the show. Basically, this woman who has the handle at symbol metaverse on Instagram. She's had it for over a decade, and she was blocked for but pretending to be someone else. Right. So Facebook, as opposed to Meta, thought Instagram, which I suppose is I don't know. Instagram thought that at Metaverse was somebody pretending to be somebody else. How many people do you think out there might want to pass themselves off as metaverse? I think this woman's lucky; she probably had it first. It has been reinstated, but basically, it happened days after Facebook changed the name of their parent company, at least, to Meta, and your account has been blocked for pretending to be someone else, the app told her. Yes, apps are very good at telling you things, aren't they? Wrong things, presumably. Um, okay. Yeah, Metaverse was suddenly a hot commodity. Well, she's got it. I believe it has been reinstated since this became news. Um, But they're pointing out, for example, here that at Metaverse example highlights the breadth of Facebook's power. Users essentially have no rights whatsoever. Um, some of this is not actually new. I mean, bear in mind that I don't know for the last 30 years, forget Spotify now, where you can actually if you got a professional account, you can download albums. But back in Apple and iTunes, is a classic case. I think it was Bruce, what's his name, the actor, Bruce Willis, that's his name, got very upset with Apple because he bequeathed his musical collection. Well, he's not dead yet, but he's bequeathed his music collection to, I think it's his niece. And obviously, LPs and cassettes and even CDs she will presumably get if she wants them. But all the stuff he's purchased from iTunes via Apple, apparently he doesn't own it. Apple owns it. Even though he bought it. And it makes you wonder, doesn't the artist own it if that's the case? How come Apple own it? Very weird, very weird. Okay, maybe there's a bit darker side to Apple than one realizes. Anyway, I believe that at Metaverse, delightful lady that she is now back on Instagram with her name restored, but you'd have to go there to check. The article broke at Ars Technica here, which is ARSTECHNICA.com. And I think it was today even the Scar Ghost featured the piece as well. So I think it has been sorted out now. This was earlier in the week. Okay, moving down the list. Going quite quickly today here. Right. Work in the metaverse. The new normal, like you've never seen it. I quite like this headline, actually. The new normal, like you've never seen it. Well, if you've never seen it, then it can't be normal yet, can it? But anyway, that's a bit of a. I'll let them worried about their literary merits. Okay, the metaverse offers an immersive VR space, or spaces, in my interpretation. Would you work in a fully virtual world? One of the questions: what does work in the world look like, etc., etc. Interesting article in general sense. They've obviously had to use the N word because they want to get readers, but um, it's been an issue all along. It's not just about work, even for recreation. Some people want to have a short burst. Some people don't want to go near it. Other people will be in there for their entire lives if you let them. If you could stick tubes in their body to feed them and stuff like that. Different strokes for different folks, as the expression goes. To be honest, I've been to meetings and talks and things in Second Life, 15 years ago. And to be honest, they probably keep me engaged in the platform for longer periods, for as long as they last, an hour or 90 minutes. Whereas some rather less, more frivolous things, like somebody having an animated dance party, if the music isn't right, I'm out of there within 30 seconds. So I think actually the immersion and the engagement in doing something useful and workish, is a good capture. If you have a skill and you can get together with a team in the virtual world and do it, I think that's good. Whether you will want to do it in a helmet for more than 30 seconds is another matter entirely. But the question is, would you want to be in there? And sort of, I like the new normal is like you've never seen it. Contradiction in terms, really, but they a nice little handle on it, really. Right, okay, moving on. Oh, sorry, that was before I lose it. Darn, still there, thank goodness. The link for that is uctoday.com. So UCTODAY. I don't know what UC is. I think it's an academic site. I keep thinking University College, but this is American, whereas University College is Britain. So uctoday.com for that one. Right, moving down the list. Oh, slow loader. Right. Right. Is the metaverse just the meta worst? I mean, I had to show you this one, didn't I? It's just such a catchy headline. What we've been reading this year about the metaverse: good, intriguing, or downright terrifying? In other words, the good, the bad, or the ugly. Yes, to quote the film. Right, we've decided to focus our 5th anniversary issue on the metaverse. Now, this issue they're referring to is Immerse News. This is the site, IMMERSE.NEWS. And I actually received their posts as an email. This is not one I get via email, but you can quite easily get it by RSS too, which is what this actual one. Right, decided to focus on the metaverse. Immersive's editorial collective began hoovering up articles on the topic. They must have had to empty the bags quite often, I should think. While some of us have been tracking the term for nigh to 3 decades, we still didn't have a clear definition, like where is the metaverse, who owns it, how do I get there, and what will I wear? Apparently, we are not alone. WTF was one of the top genres of articles we collected about the metaverse, followed closely by once Facebook declared its intentions to rebrand itself as Meta and hire a small town's worth of people to build it out. Now we're rounding out the year with a slew of stories about absurd wads of cash being dropped on virtual objects. Ahoy, bubble! As you can see, I quite attracted to the tone of this article, really. Among primers and hot takes, we also found some intriguing contemplations. How can we build an open metaverse? What is the role of the metaverse in museums? Does the metaverse need a zoning board? And how are we going to get ripped off in new and exciting ways? Yeah, this is. I think this is my favourite article of the week, to be honest. And I see. Basically, well, this page, as you're reading it now, that quite literally has a roundup. These, it's all the same site, but these are all various links and stuff they've got there, and you can just to read on. Is if you're actually on the website, obviously. So immerse.news, immerse.news. Moving down. First of two, Voices of VR, one of our favourite sites, of course, this week. Number 1027. I can't get. It's bad enough doing hundreds, let alone thousands. Okay. Rec Room's origin story, oral history, and evolution to becoming the first VR unicorn company. Rec Room are, of course, a virtual world, and I don't think they're all legless, despite the look on that splash. I can't be quite sure. I've certainly been in there, and their avatars look a bit like that. It's a bit cutesy. But I think you can actually walk around a bit in there. Anyway, back in March, they announced they'd raised 100 million with a valuation of 1.25 billion US dollars, of course, which made them the first software company to achieve something called unicorn status. Then they started originally on Vive, which is a helmet, I believe, on June the 1st. Anyway, this article, the authors of the article had a chance to catch up with one of the co-founders, and then that's the interview basically. So those of you who know Kent Vi and Voices of VR know that despite a very short introduction, there will be a mammoth amount of information in that podcast. It's astonishing the speed with which he gets through things, but also the way his ability to get information out of people in a short period of time is pretty phenomenal. I wish I had his skills in that department. Okay, so that's voicesofvr.com, voicesofvr.com. And I'm going to jump down two positions here so I can do the next one too. Same site yet again, voicesofvr.com, Voices VR. And this is episode 1028, which talks about a company called Jadu, who are pivoting from celebrity holograms to world-scale AR NFT platform with jetpacks and hoverable wearables. There's no end to what can get interested in this, but this is a wee bit out of my field of interest, really. But it's tangential to what we do. So another good interview if you're into that sort of stuff. So both of those at voicesofvr.com. Right. Oh yes, we. Oh yeah, there we are. Right, IEEE have committed to XR standards and security, their executive says. Okay. It's the Institute for Electrical and Electronic Engineers. I can never remember, so thank God they put that there. Oh dear, all these letters to get to terms with. Anyway, basically, they are discussing XR standards, training, cybersecurity, and the metaverse. And this is pretty good news because, well, it's a kind of institute, so it's not a commercial company in its own right, but many of their members are actually, commerce orientated. But of course, they've also got members who are in the open source, open market thing, and they're basically working with standards in much the same way as say somebody like Kronos is. So this is very good news because basically there are a lot of there's actually quite a lot of organisations like this, and some of them, like this one until this week, still didn't really have a policy about the XR ecosystem, and they've now sort of come on board to adopt standards and security measures. For XR. XR, of course, is of wide berth. You can think of it as extended reality. Also, uh, it's often used just to refer to spatial computing, which, of course, is more than what XR is. Um, it sort of connects with mixed reality, MR, VR, and AR too. So eventually, all these handles and stuff will sort of merge into one. Probably, I don't know what it would be. Yeah, a bit of a way away yet. Anyway, but yeah, this interview sort of covers their thoughts. Now, I've decided to adopt all the standards, then explaining why and their opinion on stuff. So good stuff. This is probably my most retweeted article of the whole week. When people read the tweet and they click the button that retweets it out to their folks, kind of thing. So, always good to know I got there first on that or something. Right, another site now. Oh, yeah. I hope I gave you that one because I've just did it. I've just quit it. Oh yeah, it was IEEE.org. That was IEEE.org. Right, moving on to this one. I better give you the address before I go and delete it. xrtoday.com. I get quite a lot of posts from them during the week these days. xrtoday.com. And this article was near the end of the week, talking about content licensing in the metaverse, basically, how content licensing will change in the metaverse age. So, useful kind of read here. Because although nobody knows what the future is and quite what the metaverse is, a lot of people have ideas, about things like virtual goods and an example. For example, you want to buy some virtual shoes for your avatar, and you look in a virtual shop and you spot a rather nice pair of trainers, but they're Nike. The trainers are owned by Nike. So what's actually happening is you're probably buying the shoe off a retailer, but that retailer has in turn bought or at least licensed the Nike logo from Nike. So the major brands will want their brand image on all the virtual goods that are going to be floating around, just as you have in the real world. The guy who's spent 30 years wearing Nike trainers is obviously going to want to be wearing Nike trainers on his avatar. And it's a sad fact of life that the more worlds he's in with different avatars, the more pairs of Nike trainers he's going to have to buy. Sometimes I wonder if the wall gardeners have got this very idea in mind. But, oh, well, if we don't interact with each other, we can sell products 30 or 40 times instead of once. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, this is a little roundup of the way they think content licensing may go in the so-called metaverse age. Sounds like imagine historians referring to the what do they call them, the paleolith or age and the something age, and then they cut to metaverse age. What's that? That's when we all became cartoons. Oh, back then, eh? Oh, okay. Moving on. That was xrtoday.com, of course, which I'd already told you. Right. Intel thinks the metaverse will need a 1,000-fold increase in computing capability. I think that may be a conservative estimate, actually. I was reading the other day about quantum computing, and of course, this is something I think IBM are involved with. But certainly, so IBM are, but I think Intel maybe too. apparently there's, oh god, there's, oh yeah, it was talking about crypto keys, and apparently the most advanced crypto keys, right, for somebody to decrypt them and break into them, basically, would take more computing power. Um, well, it can be done because even the astronomical computing power it would take at the moment would be the processing would take longer than the lifetime of the universe. And that's a mind-boggling, but when you consider what that probably is. But the thing is that with the current standards, well, they're not commonly online yet, but the current state of quantum computing means that something like that task, instead of taking the whole lifetime of the universe, will probably take only something like 6 weeks. And the newer, more advanced quantum um, computers will be able to speed that up, and they reckon something like that will eventually take about 6 seconds. Um, and if you're talking about the speed with which data could flow and be processed to, say, create a virtual world live in front of you, that really quantum computers, when they become normal, either server side, I imagine, but maybe eventually we'll have them in our homes too, could accelerate, everything. Sort of hopefully, with fiber optics, give us enough bandwidth to handle it. But the processing times are extraordinary, and I'm not tech enough to fully understand that, but I've certainly got a grip on the figures there, and thought I was quite literally looking at a graph, and you know. Boring old computers today, oh, that's a big tall column. It's going to take until the end of the universe. And then we got to repeating, oh, just a quick little 6 second bite there. Dear me. Okay. So 1,000-fold increase in computing capability, pretty much for sure. The trick is going to be um, um, keeping the cost of computing capability down. As I understand it, quantum computing, despite the cost of creating it initially, it'd be like everything else. They'll become more and more commonplace, but more importantly, I don't think as much electricity or actual power is needed. A computer probably still needs as much power, but it doesn't need essentially that much more power because the quantum processor is a method of number crunching rather than power absorption. If I've got that right, I better shut up because I barely know what I'm talking about, but it sounds exciting, doesn't it? Okay. Intel's first public acknowledgement that the sometimes nebulous future of computing, which promises an always connected virtual world that exists in parallel with our physical one. The chip company is bullish on the possibilities in abstract, but raises a key issue with realizing any metaverse ambitions, and that is there's not nearly enough processing power to go around. In other words, on the planet. So something has to be done about that, and the it has to be done. They don't mention it here, but it also has to be done without aggravating our electricity consumption, let alone any other um, non-renewable power source. Okay, you'll find this article at theverge.com, theverge.com. And moving down the list, I'm nearly there, already. Well, sort of. TikTok, TikTok, hurry up, hurry up. There you are. How the metaverse is shaping international relations. Well, here we go, a bit more serious again. And, it's one of those articles I think can just about be excused having used the M word. um, United Nations Interregional Crime and Justice Research Institute, there's a handful, has announced it will hold a metaverse inspired webinar as part of its future series. It's a unique webinar series to explore the future of technology and how future tech will impact our lives. covering potential positive and negative aspects, the potential opportunities and threats associated with technology, etc., etc. The Metaverse webinar will be entitled "The Metaverse and the Real World." Gosh golly. Anyway, this could be kind of interesting. I don't think there's any actual dates for an event here. It's more a sort of statement of intent, uh, how this sort of works out. They would, oh wait, the webinar will allow the United Nations to assess the impact of new metaverses, plural, and the relations with them. And they particularly cite the emergence of Mark Zuckerberg's Meta as one example, something that needs to be sorted. Yeah, shortish article, but an interesting, yeah, interesting kind of announcement there. So, um, I always have a hard time with what would this be? UNICJRI, Unicri. Yeah, okay. You can look it up if you need it. Right. Okay, moving down the list. Now that this is good news for the Lord Zuckerberg, right? he's he's only gone and metafied himself for what, a couple of weeks, and guess what? Uh, Sexual assault has already started in Meta's Horizon Worlds metaverse. Now, somebody we weren't on there last week, so I guess it was at a conference. Somebody was telling me that they were describing they'd been in Horizon Worlds, which is available, I think, in America and Canada, um, and they were complaining there were loads of screaming kids and stuff in there. So I don't quite know what's going on. Presumably, the beta of Meta is a kids metaverse or something, or like a Second Life Teen Grid used to be. I don't know, but apparently an early tester, uh, first thing they found was that their avatar was groped by a stranger. Now, actually, this happened to me, which I'm not female, but it does happen to men too. Shortly after joining Second Life, but fortunately by then I'd been given a little gadget that actually allowed me to send the assailant, so to speak, and it was a bit, it took me by surprise from behind. It was really quite, I didn't actually log out, which is obviously an answer, but I had this thing that um, sent him into orbit, and he only comes down from orbit very, very slowly. It's not like he can just jump back down. He could, of course, if he knew what he was doing, teleport out of orbit to another location. And likewise, if I'd known what I'd doing when I was a complete noob, I could have just teleported somewhere else, or maybe had a similar defensive system or something. But a lot, a lot of people have been worried about this for a while, because people who get very immersed and kind of lose touch a bit with the outside world while they're in their helmets, or just immersed anywhere, I guess, can be abused. It's not true physically, but it might. Although I suppose with tactile helmets and touch coming in, it could be in the future. But it's the psychological feeling that you are actually being physically assaulted, and the panic takes over, and you forget that you can log out or teleport away. Your mind is focused on the assault, and you're not enjoying yourself, and you're panicking. So I know people who've tried virtual worlds and left, once, or the first time something like that ever happened to them, before they really knew how to handle it. I don't know what Meta are doing if they're opening up to any old adults and mixing it with any old kids. That sounds like the worst way to actually launch it. Sexual harassment is no joke on the regular internet, but being in VR adds another layer that makes the event more tense. One of Horizon World's testers group particularly said. Not only was I groped, but there were other people there who supported this behavior, which made me feel totally isolated. And Facebook's reaction, of course, was that the incident was absolutely unfortunate great emotion in that line, isn't there? Absolutely unfortunate. Hey, when appalling events happen, even in the real world, and they involve corporations, or government departments who then issue these highly clinical, word-filled um, commiserations that aren't, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm going to get to move on. Right, so you'll find this actually. It's been all over the place since, but this particular one broke. I think it broke at Euronews. EURONEWS.com. That's certainly where I picked it up from. Right. So, moving on. Now, this is an example of something I mentioned at the top of the show. This is Forbes.com, Forbes, and it's Charlie Fink's Week in XR, which again is a roundup, but of course it's a roundup of the same period of time I've just been talking about. This comes out on Friday or at the end of the week, basically. It's also an example of a site where if you do actually go to Forbes.com, you might not even be able to find this because there's so much. If you go into technology, you probably find it. They do a lot of articles, in fact. But you can get to the direct page by following my Twitter feed at twitter.com/Mal Burns, Malburs, one word. And he's talking about the meta avatars for the metaverse. This is the Meta company, as opposed to Facebook. Sort of, oh God, they're working on digital assets, costumes, come and see, etc. And they've been offering since this week, I think, generously offering its shiny new avatar system to developers. He's made one of himself, and I got to say, cartoony or not, it was a bit of a likeless, but I've got a horrible feeling it's legless too. Um, anyway, Meta host, oh, look, typo, Meta host, Meta avatars will escape its metaverse. Who knows? Um, yeah. Um, yeah, various other stuff there too. It's not a particularly long roundup, and once again, we have no sign of the companion YouTube broadcast this week either. Um, I haven't checked my podcast stuff for a few days, so it may be it even though sometimes disappears from YouTube. It's sometimes available as a podcast, but it's not available at Forbes.com. It's available elsewhere. So this one is Forbes.com. Okay, and the very final one. This is from IEEE again. And there's no reader view here, but this is where I got that picture from. Right, I knew it came from somewhere relevant. Right, okay. Meta offers nothing new to the metaverse. Facebook's got a new name but a tired business model. This really is analysis of sort of what the God Emperor and his multiple companies, including meta companies, are doing, and tired old policy, really. Anyway, you'll find this at Spectrum. That's SPECTRUM.IEEE, in other words, IEEE.org. And short little piece there. Good place to grab that graphic if you want it, though. Quite, I don't know. It feels like I should have some witty comment to go with that, but I can't think of one offhand. So, moving on, and remove that item, and that's all the stuff for this week, or for the last 14 days. Now, there is a lot missing. If you go to twitter.com/malburns and indeed twitter.com/metaworldnews, both of which are squashed up, as things are on the web, you'll find a whole lot more links and stuff. But the more significant ones or more humorous ones and stuff I've actually included there. Now, also in my Twitter feed, there's a relay from my video site, which is Metaworld at mastodon.social. It's mastodon.social /@Metaworld. At least I hope it is. I can never remember. Now, obviously, over the course of 2 weeks and a number of different conferences, this is actually absurd. So I'm just going to scroll down it to give you an idea of what's here. Uh, Top of the list, most recent, is a new edition of Between Realities, a video podcast. That was yesterday, I think. Um, a new thing called the VR verse, or when I say it's new, it appears to be episode 3, but I never saw an episode 1 or 2. It's also, it's not bad, but it's not essential viewing, and it's probably got more of a gaming inclination in its way. Um, Living it up with Atom Bomb Body as the Live community manager. Live is another metaverse. Right, not an interview by Ken Bai, but an interview with Ken Bai, which I can't even remember. Oh yeah, Exile Must is a site we get news from now and again, but they conducted a video interview with Ken, and it's always interesting whether he's the interviewee or the interviewer. It's equally good. It always is with him. Um, Right, 3 days ago, immersive web in a new era of opportunity by Ben Irwin. The Polly's WebXR Awards at YouTube. So this isn't the awards. This is a talk by Ben Irwin. It's whatever talking about the immersive web. Almost all these are at YouTube. 2 editions of Between Realities this week, by the way. This was earlier in the week. And its main feature was having somebody called Tam2 of Vertigo Games on the actual show. Right. Let's see. Meta Traversal. First committee meeting on portal interoperability. Am I in that? No, I'm not in this one. Right, that's good. This at the conference last week, one of my participants on Saturday was Ivo Henning from OMI, Open Metaverse Initiative, and this was a sort of Zoom conference they had a few weeks ago. Talking about interoperability basically between different metaverse portals. And you see, Kent, there he is, there's Kent Bai on that one too. There's Avo herself, and quite a few familiar names there actually. And so that is kind of well worth watching. I wasn't actually on that Zoom call or even watching it, so having a refresher on that was rather useful, enjoyable too. Right. Okay. This is where we get complicated. There are no standalone videos of the events from the Open Simulator Community Conference. It's over a week ago now, but the only thing one can find online, if you're lucky, is a very long, day-long embed on the Avacon YouTube site, and it every time you click on it, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, it always seems to play Sunday. So I don't quite know what's going on there. I don't know whether you do, James. I know you were working with Marcus behind the scenes on that. When they're going to get round to posting the individual sessions, it's anybody's guess. I mean, as usual, as soon as my sessions are open, people say, "Where's the link? Where's the link?" I say, "I don't actually do the videos anymore. I don't know where the link is because I used to get the sessions up, immediately they were finished, really." So I don't know if you have any idea when they'll be up, James, or anything. Your connections with Avacon there.
Well, maybe would you like to contribute as an editor?
What you mean, crop them?
No.
Yeah, well, I was hoping to download the long version and then crop out my panels to post somewhere.
Yep.
In fact, I was going to ask you if you've got copies of the individual.
I, yeah, I could probably dig those up.
Yeah,
It's a volunteer organization, Mal, and the volunteers do what they can as they're able to.
Yeah,
We've got no funders. We're not a Facebook, so we only can
go
as fast as we can go.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just I used to do it, so I know how quick it is to do if you want to, if you put your mind to it. Okay. Anyway, that's between us. So, unfortunately, if you go here, you will be able to see these beds. But oh, here we are. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that is, yeah. That I think is Sunday because it starts. It's, basically, to watch that, you need 11 hours and 22 minutes. And the other one here, let's just see. Oh, right, this is Saturdays then, because this lasts for 10 hours, 10.5 hours basically. And you can obviously scroll through it like this. Here we are. Here's mine, for example. If I can get this offline, I will simply crop out my panel to post separately. You've got to wait around a bit for it. There we are. There's a lot of intro time here. In front of it, so nobody can sort of take possession of the cyberspace. Whose is that voice? It sounds familiar, doesn't it? Right, there we are. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the second half of Saturday here at the OpenSim Community Conference. My name is Mal Burns, and this is actually going to be the first of sort of two slightly related lunchtime. Okay, well, I'm not playing it on this show for you, but I will be endeavouring to get those. The problem is YouTube no longer allows me to download the originals. So to crop it myself, I would need to be able to download an original or get an original from the organisers. So, yeah. But the links are there if you need to go and get them and try. So, moving on, also, beginning of last weekend, VR download is oh no, no, sorry. Oh, right, I couldn't find these at first, so they're a bit out of order in terms of days. 5 days ago, this would have been Monday or Tuesday, this week's edition of VR download. Did you watch this, James? Did you this week?
I was busy this week.
Right. Okay. Well, they cover the various things like Sony's new display and a Quest software development kit and Apple job listings and stuff like that. Always a good watch, that show. December 11th, so still within our time frame. F Reality podcast. They were looking at Cyberpunk 2017 after the fall and hands-on with a par of 5K. I think mostly games stuff on this particular edition, if I recall. And the third show of what may turn out to be quite a good one. I mean, it's still finding its legs actually, but it's called the Metaverse Diaries. Number 3, and they're talking about Frame, which of course is web virtual reality. It's Vibella, who have a platform that is largely used by enterprise. Very fast, simple, easy to use, nothing spectacular looking. Where they also have a product called Frame, which is a bit like Mozilla Hubs. You can actually create your own world that is actually on a web page, and it can be quite elaborate, or it can be very simple. And one of the things they did get the week before last actually was an update, so that is something he has covered in that particular program. And okay. That is the same thing that I actually posted while the conference was happening or before it started as the live link. I think that is probably plays again. That probably will play Saturdays. Yeah, 10:25. Well, it's thinking about playing Saturday. Actually, it may not be there anymore. This may be the one. Yeah, actually, I'll have to remove that one because it only worked when it was like who knows? You hang around for a minute and things do happen. Okay, yep. So I'll leave it there for now. Right. Okay. XR Safety Week, which happened the week before. A load of stuff actually happened here. There was a virtual citizens forum. Which is on December 10th, day 5, which I think was a Friday. Again, Kent By and a load of other people there. And another, these are all from the same conference the week before. This is Privacy and Ethics, an overview of them. It's not in Portuguese, despite the title. The actual presentation is in English. Between Realities from the week before, December the 10th, as ever. Building AR Experiences with Niantic Light Shift. That's December 10th. That was a previously unreleased session from OR USA. It was one of the side events rather than the main stages events. A few of them are popping up now. I'm still trying to find 2 shoots, but hopefully before long. And another one from the same session, developing cross-platform XR applications with OpenXR. So again, looking at the open metaverse. New responsive web. So this is really looking again at WebXR things. I don't think that was any product in particular. It's just looking at the idea of various things on the web, including environmental mapping. And that that's on stage there. Back to the safety week. Sarah Tycho and these 2 people here. This was an interesting session. Sarah Tycho's in the UK here, and these other people are actually from the UK's National Health Service. They've been very busy lately, not with what you might think it should be, but actually at virtual conferences, giving presentations about how they're using, virtual reality and augmented reality throughout the health service. I must say, I've yet to experience either at my GPs or any of the hospitals any evidence of this, but apparently maybe when all the viruses are over and everything, they'll be able to find time to actually launch these things properly. This was a good one. This was a very good one. This was on day 4. CEO and founder of the XR Safety Initiative, Kavya Perlman, you see her there, talking to somebody called Mohammed Khamis, who's at the University of Glasgow in the UK here. With great power comes great responsibility. That was a good talk because they were that quite literally looking at responsibility in the world. Sorry, I'm getting distracted there. I seem to have come to the bottom of my... Oh, hang on, show older. That's it. I just need to check. Oh, Lord. Right. Oh, yeah, here we are. It's done what I thought. Okay, it's changed the layout a bit. Okay, more from the safety week then. So this is all since last time. A VR lab in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Curious. Evangelizing diverse communities in the metaverse. Avatars, virtual harassment and XR safety challenges in higher education. And game on the role of safety in the metaverse. There we go. Oh, she was from this. That's interesting. She was from the Australian government, that lady. Right. Empowering diverse communities within extended reality. Future child safety in XR and the need for a metaverse IQ workshop. It goes on and on, doesn't it? See what I mean about busy conferences for the last 2 weeks, maybe there are about 2 at the same time every week, and then we have weekend events like our own Open Sim one too. Education in mirror worlds, safety in XR, etc. And hang on, where we are? December 8th. Actually, we're almost back to 2 weeks ago now. What is the metaverse? I think it's a mainstream.
So, what exactly a metaverse? Essentially, metaverse is a new generation of decentralized digital reality environment or metaverse, a successor to today's internet. It combines elements of social media, virtual...
Right, that was pretty much on form, although whether this is successor to the internet, and a successor to the web maybe, but not the whole internet. I actually found that quite interesting. I don't know where that avatar was created, but it mixes screen and photography and the avatar. did it quite well, really. And December 7th was the VR download again, which I guess was, I forget when we were on air last. It must have been about December 6th, I guess. Yeah, 13 days ago. So VR download there. And Safety Week. Oh, yeah. Oh, Ben Bauman here. This was the very first event on day one. What some people would call a keynote, I guess, so they didn't use that word. And I don't know. Oh, Tom Fisk, who Doug Thompson, otherwise known as Decent Writer, was on my panel last Sunday, and he'd also been earlier, 10 days before, or whatever, on no, a week before he'd been on this with Tom Fisk. Tom Fisk is British too, so the Scarlet Ghost was there too. Anthony Vitilla, Kavya Perlman from the XR Safety crowd, who did her thing earlier on. It's just not a game, and Medium. I can't even read that one. Right. From topic to medium XR journalism, basically. So, virtual reality, the future of gaming. Oh, right. This is an old one that came in and stuff. This is actually from the Los Angeles Comic Con, where it's a panel. And obviously, it's like I remember from when I was in comics when I was about teenage or early 20s, the crossover to science fiction and all sorts of things all sort of flows together. And these days, those Comic Con events are so big. I've never been to one in the days when they're like they are now. But despite being called Comic Con, they're obviously, it's like South by Southwest or whatever they're wide berth, basically. So this was a whole panel looking at the future of gaming and virtual reality. But I mean, they said the future of gaming, but it's the metaverse they're looking at, basically, not just gaming. And opening event on XR Safety again. And right, okay, Metaverse Diaries number 2. I think that probably, December 6th. Here's a great big link. You have to go back to December 6th to find it. But it's a link to YouTube's channel where literally all the videos from the Global XR Community Conference, which is different from the one we've just been summarizing, by the way. I simply had to cheat here and give you a click through to, where is the click through? There it is. And it just takes you to YouTube and the actual landing page for the XR community stuff. And as you can see, a load more that I didn't post individually. It was just going to be too much to fill up my feed with all this. So a whole load more talks available too. So I've got the link in there for you, but not the actual embeds. We've been here all day. So that is it for my reading list there. So I'm not actually showing you any videos there, but I'm just going to switch to my desktop number 1. I got a couple of videos here that are actually offline, so I have no links for these. I just thought they'd be interesting. This is about Spatial. They had a bit of a regurg, as we said in the news this week. It's just a promo, but why not have a look at it? Okay, so that's Spatial IO, and of course they're available as an app, and they have their own Discord server now too. This next one. Oh yes, Smell-O-Vision. Now, at the beginning bit of that was they advertised four smells. I don't know if you're watching that carefully, but they had coffee. Fair enough. That's nice enough, or you can make your own. Lavender. That smells like my bedroom, so you can always get your own avatar. But the other two smells they cited as being interesting: gunpowder. Guess they think they're gamers. And I've forgotten what the other one is, but it was equally obnoxious. Yeah, I've forgotten it already, but yeah, an odd pairing, you could say lavender and coffee, and then gunpowder and something else. Dear me. Okay, find a little clip. Oh no, two clips by the look of it. Okay, that's H&M. I'm not sure what H&M stands for, but it's a well-known shop for male and female clothes, basically. Is it? Oh, her, his, and I don't know. I forget what it stands for. I've got a branch just down the road from me here, but this is an example of one of the brick and mortar retailers who's building stores that can be used online, virtual stores that basically bring the virtuality experience to, I wish more supermarkets would do this. I'd like to actually be able to go to my supermarket and check what's on the shelf before I buy it and they tell me there's none left. And, just the sensation of walking around the shop to where stuff is and then seeing what they got in stock and picking it up. It's obviously done slightly easier for a fashion house to do that because they only do clothes and they have their own range. They obviously don't stock the same amount of stuff as say Tesco or Sainsbury's, but there you go. I seem to have a fourth one here. I don't know what this one is.
Hello everyone, welcome to another fantastic talk here from Tech Circus for Enter the Metaverse.
Right, well that was Tech Circus talking to Philip Rosedale. We showed you that, I'm pretty sure, on our last show. It's simply one that I obviously forgot to delete from that particular list. So there we go. There we go. We are at the end of the show, so to speak. James, have you any thoughts? Croak, any thoughts?
No, I really don't have much to contribute. I'm pretty beat. I'm pretty exhausted.
Right. Oh, I do that to people, don't I?
No, it's from the week, the week of conferences, and I had work conferences, and so it adds up,
Just when we think the holiday season's here, we get the last spurt of no holiday for you.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, as I said, folks, we will. It's so close to the holiday days, as it were. We'll take another Sunday off next week, probably back on be the second day of January, won't it? The week after that. So we shall see. In the meantime, I should say, wish you all a good holiday, whether you celebrate all this nonsense or not. Also, of course, particularly in Britain here, where we're in pandemic hell now. It's worse than it's been at all since the beginning, and we have no. Boris won't put any restrictions in place. It's daft. We're having to be extra careful. But I suspect anywhere in the world you are with this new Omi variant thing around.
Is it Omicron or Omicron? Or Omicron?
Yeah,
nobody speaks Greek language letters properly anymore.
It's actual Omicron. Omicron.
Merriam-Webster says Omicron.
No, Omi. It's Omicron. Or is it Omicron? No, I think it's Omicron. No, but I initially thought it said Omnicron.
Right.
But that's a virtual reality product.
So do a lot of United States politicians.
Yeah, you got to get used to it. But no, it's definitely the main thing is Omi, not on.
What do
It's
they
not.
teach people anymore?
It's not Omni. It's Omi. So
It's
yeah,
Omicron. Omicron. Omicron.
Omicron. Yeah, I'm. Yeah,
Omega. Alpha, Omega, Omicron. Not too hard.
Yeah, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Omicron.
Right. But I'm saying
Yeah.
Omega, Omicron.
Oh,
You
right,
could
got you.
say Omega, or maybe Amiga.
Amigacron. That would be a good one. That goes back in time a bit. Can we consign the Omicron to Amiga first? Forgotten about that. The Amigaverse. There must have been one, surely. Would that have tied in with George Lucas's thing? I don't know. Anyway, right. So anyway, we're going to say goodbye and do stay indoors. Do all your work from home. Better still, do it in a virtual world of your choosing, preferably not Facebook Horizons. Anyway, you don't have any legs there. Sorry, Mark. Dear. And have a happy holiday at the same time. Yep. Stay indoors. Watch out for those little invisible balls with lots of spikes on them, etc., etc., etc. We'll be back in 2 weeks, I hope. And said it all, haven't I, really? My thanks to James here, of course, every week of the year. And you must have a good holiday as well, James, if they let you go long enough. And it is goodbye from him. Okay. We finally lost the audio. Okay, it's goodbye from him, it's goodbye from me, it's goodbye from both of us, basically. And I was going to do the thing about we are, etc.
It's goodbye from him. Sorry, my since I'm not using my headset correctly, my microphone auto turned off while I was using it, no less.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, we'll be at XRMLAR and etc. etc. You know, at the end of the day, we are. Yeah, indeed. Okay. So happy holidays and safe days. We will return. Bye for now.